What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful. How's everybody doing? I don't know if everybody's legendary. I mean, this is kind of conflicting, but definitely it's Victory Monday. So Victory Monday, Victory Monday. Anyway, we're of course going to break down obviously the Trey Lance injury. We got the Dre Greenlaw contract to talk about, a bunch of things we're going to get into today. But before we get started today, as always, stay tuned to the end of the show to get your special coupon code for 10% off of all season 2 for the Faithful by the Faithful apparel, exclusively available at ninerfaithfulradio.com/shop. Save 10% by using our shop49ers.com affiliate link and help out Niner Faithful Radio. The link is in the description of this podcast or video. Go to SeatGiant.com. Use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all theater, concert, and sporting event tickets, as well as help out the show. And follow us on social media. Jason does a bang-up job on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at Niner Faithful Radio, and Twitter at Niner Faithful R. And of course, go to ninerfaithfulradio.com/subscribe to see show. And make sure that you check out our pregame, halftime, and postgame shows. We'll go ahead and get those times out for y'all. Those are the wrong times. I forgot to change the video. Way to start the show. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, faithful of all ages, let's get the show cracking.
You are now listening to Niner Faithful Radio, the show for the faithful, by the faithful.
What's cracking, Jason? How you doing, bro?
And how's it?
Oh, of course.
Hi.
No, that's not my fault. Okay. Okay, I know I'm lagging again. I don't know what this is. If it mess up again, I'll get it fixed. I'll fix it. So I tried to mute your mic right when I brought you on when the intro was still playing, and then it wouldn't let me mute your mic. So I just took you off like whatever. And then all of a sudden when I brought you on, your mic was muted. That's what ended up happening right now. That's why I was like, what the hell? All right, so we of course got a little bit of housekeeping to do. The San Francisco 49ers announced that they signed linebacker Dre Greenlaw to a 2-year contract extension through 2024. Greenlaw was originally drafted by the 49ers in the 5th round, 148th overall of the 2019 draft. Over the past 4 seasons, he's appeared in 33 games, 25 starts, and registered 196 tackles, 4 pass defenses, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions in one of the greatest plays in Niner history. It didn't say that, but I added that. One of which was returned for a touchdown. He also started 6 postseason contests and added 18 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. Dre Greenlaw was named the Pro Football Focus PFWA All-Rookie Team and honored the Tom Harrison Memorial Award in 2019, which is given annually to the rookie or first-year player who has taken advantage of every opportunity, turned into a positive situation, and turned their dream into a reality. And so, unfortunately, we got to get to before we get to the sad news, I want to say this about yesterday's game. This is some few notes that the Niners gave out that I thought were pretty crazy. So, with the win, the Niners improved to 10-13 at home against the Shecocks, 2-7 at Levi's. they claim the first win against the Shecocks since, of course, the Dre Greenlaw, the clinch by the inch. Dating back to 2021, the Niners have won their fourth consecutive game following a loss. I thought that was pretty dope. So that's shows you don't lose too many back-to-back games. The defense held the Seahawks to the 216 total net yards of offense. 200 set that amount of offense was the second fewest allowed by the 49ers all time against them. The first becoming in 1988. The 49ers defense held them to 36 rushing yards, which is the second fewest total since that same game. Wow, actually a week less than however many years. I can't do the math. 34 years. So a week less than 34 years to the day. That's crazy. So that was an ass whooping. Now, I want to get to this real quick. And San Francisco 49ers quarterback Trey Lance underwent successful surgery on his injured right ankle this morning, an injury that occurred in yesterday's game versus the shit-out Shecocks. Surgery was performed to repair two injuries to Trey Lance's ankle, a fibula fracture and the ligament disruption. Lance will start the rehab process, and head team physician Dr. Tim McAdams is confident that he will recover completely in time for a full return in the 2023 season. Real quick, I want to get to these clips that Shanahan had from Trey Lance from yesterday's press conference.
I would assume so. I don't think it's that long of a. I haven't actually got to talk to the doctors exactly after the surgery, but.
Sorry. Okay, so this is in reference to if he'll be ready for week one.
I'm saying that it would be that long. I would assume so. I don't think it's that long of a.
And then this is the plan as far as his rehab process.
I'm sure he's going to be around here all the time and do his rehab here. We haven't even discussed that, but I'd be shocked if it wasn't that case. So, right now, he's just, got out of surgery a little bit ago. I know we're all just kind of worried about him and making sure that he's doing all right mentally and physically. We'll talk to him here real soon. I know some guys have been over there to already visit him. But yeah, we're not sure yet, but as soon as he can get back in here and start rehabbing, we're going to want him a part of everything. Every meeting he can be at, every practice he can be at. I know he's not going to be able to do all of that because of how much he's got to rehab, but especially in those meetings and stuff, we don't plan on Trey being away from us at all. Whenever he's not taking care of his ankle, we plan on being with us. I'm sure he's going to be around here all the time and do his rehab.
Okay, so that's obviously the plan for Trey. Jason, your thoughts?
Oh, sorry, I was reading this ridiculous comment over here. Obviously, that sucks. It puts back his development, obviously, a year. What else are we supposed to, there's not much else we can do about it. I am starting to worry about the fact that he's going to be going on almost 4 years of not having played actual football for an extended amount of time before a few plays here and there kind of a thing, or a few games here and there. Like we had talked about before, this kind of starts pushing into issues of finances going forward because his rookie deal was supposed to come to an end as a lot of other people's go that. But so I'm more worried about that. Obviously, I know a lot of people are mad and they're doing all this. I'm not mad at Trey or anything like that. It's just the way the game goes. It's just the luck has sucked right now. And when you look at long term, I'm just curious how we're going to turn things around long term to make everything fit overall.
Yeah, I think, like I told you in our little pre-show meeting, it's too much of a headache to think about, 2023 and 2024 and 2025 right now. I fully agree. We were talking that and ultimately I'm curious about how much Trey Lance really gets to play with this 49er team as it's constructed right now. But 2022, ultimately talking to you, going through my thoughts, reading different things, and the floor of this team is a lot lower. I have a lot of faith that Jimmy he's not going to be the reason we lose in the sense that, sure, he might throw the pick that seals the game or whatever like that. But I think there's going to be a lot of other issues that go on to the game than just that one play if we're losing. I don't see a 4-pick game from Jimmy with correct circumstances. So, or at least less likely to happen. I'm sure he goes up against the right secondary, whatever. So ultimately, what I think sucks the most about this, just for this season, is I don't think the ceiling of this team and specifically this offense is as high. I feel
Jimmy
that
or
the difference
with Trey
without Trey. I feel that by the time when it got crunch time, and I said this to you before the show started, before it got to be crunch time, I felt like Trey. I felt like when it got crunch time, Trey was going to be what he was going to be this season, and that's probably was going to be a higher ceiling than what we could get with Jimmy. But ultimately, maybe it does make us better just because we won't have the roller coaster. And I say it all the time. It's a showism. Coaches just want to know what they have. Coaches don't want to deal with inconsistencies. They're fine with whatever your level is. If you're the best player out there, you're the best player out there. What they want is consistency.
But we don't necessarily have consistency out of Jimmy. How often have we seen him go?
No.
He'll have those games where he hits those pinpoint over the middle balls, but at the same time, he can't. Then all of a sudden, he throws how many hospital balls tall to everybody and ends up getting hurt. So I kind of disagree in the fact that we don't necessarily know what we're getting with Jimmy because he's been so inconsistent over the years with his play as well. So it's just kind of a wash when it comes to that.
Touche. But it's I'm trying to stretch out positives here, bro.
I know, and I'm just being real about this. We were going to get different types of up, highs, and lows with each of them. So in essence, we're washing it for the most part.
And also, I think ultimately, what will be the difference is you're not going to get the wow play. You can sustain, 8 picks. Or, I mean, you can sustain, 2 picks by Trey because he just might throw you a 96-yard bomb.
Yeah.
We'll
still get those wild plays, but just like in previous season, those wild plays aren't necessarily going to come from Jimmy. They're going to be those, those yak plays that we get to Debo, to Kittle, to all those. Those are where those wild plays are going to come. Just like we did with Debo already. We've already seen him. He jumped right back into that wide back select, even though he was kind of already playing it as is.
Mm-hmm.
But we're rolling back to clock year to last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, Juice talked about it after the game where he said, "Look, it's the status quo," and so ultimately, another thing that I felt that wasn't really discussed, and I will give the Niners credit in this sense, is that if you're going to have your backup quarterback not play or not practice all offseason, Jimmy was going to be the best.
Yeah.
And with no penalties. There was one penalty that, honestly, let's be real, I didn't really think that was PI. And I was irritated because Fred Warner was my, Bam Bam was my player to watch this week. And the one stat he doesn't have against the Shecocks is a pick. And so I was ready to jump up and scream and gloat a little bit. But why don't we go ahead and we get into the actual game itself now. Give our Bam Bam, our Kittle Corn offensive MVP, Jimmy, 13 to 21, 69% completion percentage, and 3 total touchdowns. Obviously, I said, 2 rushing, 1 passing. I thought Jimmy played fine, especially considering the
was-
circumstances.
He was Jimmy. It's look at those stats compared to the stuff he's done in the past. It's Jimmy football. You know,
Yeah,
it's just what we expect out of him.
which is and that's great. That's awesome because it could have not gone that way. Let's be real.
No, it could.
Yeah, it could have not gone that way. And so very, very happy. And I will admit that I got a little nervous. I won't say that I lost face, but I got a little nervous after that blocked field goal.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did.
That, and of the sense that, okay, now is this where we're gonna see the fact of, hey, I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, who didn't even pick up a football until July, show up,
Yeah,
and that's where I got real nervous, is where this is, and it was going to be one of those things that nobody could really be mad, in the sense that the circumstances were crazy, but it's still a loss. You still blow a 20-0 lead.
Come on, man. People were already mad,
but
we won the game and people are pissed.
Yeah, I said to you, one of the first things I said when you hopped on was I never thought I'd be, or I said to my fiance, I never thought I'd be that down after a win against the Shecocks. I wasn't necessarily pissed. I was pissed when it happened. Like I told you, I literally, the last time he run the ball, I screamed at the TV, "You're gonna keep running him up the middle, and you're gonna get him hurt." So before we fully get into the breakdown of the game and give our Bam Bam defensive MVP of the game and talk really more about the defense, because I felt that really won us this game, is we talked about this before, and I don't necessarily think it's Kyle's fault if you look at the individual play. I think the more of you ran him 16 times the same way in Arizona, he gets hurt. You run him, what was it, 13 times in Chicago?
It's double digits at the least.
You had already ran him up to 4 times that game. If the Trey Lance thing fails, this is ultimately what I think it's going to come down to, is Trey's not going to develop in the way that he needs to, in the sense of he needs to throw the ball. He needs to play quarterback the way that you're going to ultimately want him to play quarterback. The best thing, now Kyle does not feel that is the way to win football games right now. Let's be real, we're in a win now mode. So to me, if ultimately the best way that you feel that you could win with this quarterback year 2 is to essentially treat him like a running back, then maybe you picked the wrong quarterback. Not saying that Trey Lance was not going to develop into a great quarterback, but because that's not sustainable. And if you can't come up with offensive football game plan that allows your quarterback to play in a more sustainable way, then yeah, you picked the wrong quarterback.
Well, not even picking the wrong quarterback, then we should have designed that offensive line. We should have been more aggressive in going out and getting free agents and making trades to get better guards, get a better center. If that's what you want to do, cool. All right, I got no problem with that. And I'm not saying Buford and Banks actually played decently well. Brendel was kind of iffy, but for the most part, the 2 guards were okay. They weren't great, but they were pretty good. So if you want to run Trey up the middle and all that kind of stuff, we should have gone harder after some top tier guys up the middle to provide more, better run protection or just run blocking in general. If we're going to run them up the middle constantly.
And that's the problem, is we're just not going to do that.
Yeah.
We're just not. Shanahan doesn't value guards and centers, he values the center enough, which ultimately I was really curious that they had the plan that they did at center. That how much he values centers and tackles. Fine, you want to stick in Burford, which I have no problem with. I think that this is ultimately going to benefit the Niners in the future. So I have no problem starting Burford and Banks. I thought that this is ultimately fine. You drafted a guard in the second round. He needs to play, and then ultimately, if he can't, then you chalk it up and it's a bad pick, and we move on. But I'm fine with Aaron Banks starting, and you let's see where we're at. Then of course you find Burford, who maybe you weren't expecting to start, and I'm curious to see exactly what happens once Daniel Brunskill comes back.
Oh, for sure. I'm almost depending if this keeps up the way it's going. I'm almost guaranteed. I'd almost put money on the fact that he goes in for Brendel.
That's what I'm thinking too. The
Just with
only
the trend right now, the two guards
because
aren't
that
bad.
makes sense. That makes sense in the sense of if you told me that their plan on offensive line this offseason was we're going to have Brunskill either at center or guard, and then you have Aaron Banks, and then if Zakel or Brendel doesn't win the starting center job, then you have it at guard or whatever. And then ultimately you end up getting, okay, you got Banks, Burford, and Brunskill at center. That makes more sense of the fact we didn't go more aggressively out of center because of how much they love Daniel Brunskill.
Yeah.
I ultimately think that's what's going to happen. I think Brunskill is going to come in for Brendel. I don't know week one, as soon as he comes back to practice or anything like that. But ultimately, if there is changes on the offensive line, I think that's where it's going to be.
And it could all
Because they're
change.
not
I'm not
committed
sure
to
how much long he's got before
yeah.
he comes back, but he could start all of a sudden playing really well, and then then you just take whichever of the guards is underperforming, or you just let them sit, depending if they're
Yeah.
playing good. So.
Well, ultimately, I think I agree with you, but I the way I look at it is I'm gonna accept unless it's costing us games. I'm gonna accept what I get from Burford and Banks because we're committed to them long term in the sense that Banks is a second round pick and Burford is young and cheap.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with this. Let him develop, and you take your lumps. As long as it's not at such a poor level that it's costing us football games, which is not yet. So okay, fine, but I think that ultimately Brendel is going to be the one that gets replaced. What I'm curious about now, and I literally just thought about this with this thought now, is I don't think that necessarily Jimmy's injury prone. What I think is what you don't notice is Jimmy takes a lot of hits
Because he's no longer mobile.
Exactly. And you and I have already discussed the offensive line, the shakiness of it, and that was all good when Trey was your quarterback, and we knew that Trey could escape. But where I'm nervous about now, and what really ultimately sucks about the Trey injury is we're one snap away from Brock Purdy trotting out on the field, which is fine.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, that's not awesome. Please, Lord, don't let that happen. But because I believe Brock Purdy, I want to develop Brock Purdy as a backup, but I'm not. I feel that if this ends up becoming a wash season, Jimmy misses 8 games, everything goes to shit. The thing that sucks about it most is I would have took it if you told me the Niners are going to be 5-12 this year. Please at least let Trey play all the games. Because now it's a wash season for no reason. You have development on the other side. Talanoa Hufanga, who we'll get to when we get to the defense here in a little bit. Obviously, the guards we just talked about are developing in anything, but a lost season doesn't mean shit to me now because it's not going to be ultimately the most important thing besides the championship is the development of Trey Lance, and that's not happening. So so that's where I'm nervous about the guard play and the center play is we're one Jimmy getting rocked. And Jimmy, as much as we talk about the positives of Jimmy and knowing what you're getting, there's also some negatives. And odds tell you he ain't playing 15 games. So,
even though he says he feels good,
okay,
says he hasn't felt this good in 4 or 5 years.
Cool, because he hasn't gotten hit. But let
Exactly.
Aaron Donald land on that. Let Aaron Donald land on that shoulder 1 or 2 times next in 2 weeks, and we'll see how that shoulder feels. But moving on to the defense, so I think there's only one natural pick. I mean, for Bam Bam defensive MVP of the week, 1, Mr. Nick Bosa, 2 sacks, 4 pass defense, and 2 tackles for loss. I mean, I think that Bosa 3 sacks in 2 games. That's on a pace for, that'd be 3, 6, 6 and 4. That's 12 and 8. That's 24 and 16. So that's about 24 sacks this year that Nick Bosa is on pace for.
Only game 2. Got to pump the brakes a little bit.
I don't. Obviously, he's not getting 24 sacks. Like, let's be real. We're not. He's not getting 24 sacks. But I'm stuck on stupid because I don't know what to say to describe Nick Bosa.
He's a beast. I think that's pretty much
beast.
He's a beast. He's everything you want in a defensive end. He plays the run well. He plays the pass even better. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
What is anything you can say that's a negative on his game? You can't. There's no negatives in his game right now.
And I mean, I'm sure if you get to some nitty gritty things, sure, but no.
Oh yeah.
Not to. Coaches will find everything, something wrong with everything. But
I'm sure Coach K is going to grill him for something just because.
That second sack, that I think at first they called it a half sack, and he split it with Drake Jackson, and then they just ended up giving it to Bosa. Kind of, I think that might have been a like, sorry, Rook, you kind of got to earn it. But that to me was one of the most beautiful sights of the game because I'm like, that's what the Niners want to see. The fact that Drake Jackson and Nick Bosa both got to the quarterback fast enough that it was even possible for it to be a split sack. Man, I bet you Chris Kosaric slept like a baby Sunday night seeing that. We got another comment right here. He's the man. Definitely. I'm gonna go ahead and play this Shanahan clip for y'all real quick, where he just breaks down the defense, and then we're gonna get into some of these defensive numbers, and just also I want to get to Shanahan injuries from the game, and then we'll get into the defense.
All right, guys. Injuries from the game. Tyler Croft had an MCL sprain. He'll be out a few weeks. Ty Davis Price had a high ankle sprain. He'll miss a few weeks also. All right, guys. Injuries from the game. My favorite things about this game, because I thought it was similar to Chicago, because I thought we were close to having a dominant performance for Chicago. But every time they got one good play, whether it was from a penalty or an off-schedule play, we didn't really make the plays after that to recover. And no matter how good you play, you're still going to give up some stuff. It's what you do after that. And you always try to say it doesn't count until they cross that goal line. And I looked at yesterday, I think it was like play 15 or 13. They got their first explosive hit in Lockett, outside the numbers on a little play action play. And then right after that, the next play, I think Greenlaw had a TFL in the flat, took care of it, made it 2nd and 12. And then the play after that, Huff undercut and tipped it and got a pick. So we responded with a huge turnover after a play. Later in the day, they got their one off-schedule play where the quarterback broke the pocket. We ended up dropping a guy and chasing him, similar to the Chicago game, and he hit Lockett across the field. They got him in the red zone. And then I love that we recovered with a pick there on the goal line on the trick play by Mooney. So it's things like that, the standard of how we play, there were some good things with that in Chicago, but it didn't matter. We still gave up 3 touchdowns. And I saw the similar stuff yesterday, but the defense tightened up. And when there was a good play by their team, we just made a better play the following 3 downs. I like my favorite things about this game because I thought it was similar to Chicago because I thought.
So ultimately, what Kyle was saying there is defense made plays. I told y'all we're going to get some of these numbers. I shared this with Jason a little bit, but this is literally every drive that the Shecocks had yesterday, ball possession chart. Okay, here we go. So their first drive had a net of 22 yards. They punted. Second drive, a net of 15 yards, punted. Second or third possession, net of 15 yards, interception. Fourth possession, net of 53 yards, ultimately got to the Niners 8. That was the interception in the end zone. And then ultimately, their last possession of the half netted 51 yards. They got to the 50. Sixth possession, punt. Seventh punt. Eighth punt. And ninth was end of the game. And those had a total of 8, 19, 15, and 31. That's 45, 46, 55 total yards in this net yards in the second half. I don't know what to say about the defensive performance about that. And the way it was the whole defense. Drake Greenlaw had a great game. I remember I'll let you go off on him because I know he's your guy. Jason, speak about Talanoa Hufanga. Talanoa Hufanga.
I know we had this conversation earlier,
Well,
I think we are seeing someone who, at this development pace, we are looking at our own version of Troy Polamalu again. And I'm not just talking because of the Polynesian heritage and the long, flowing, wonderful hair that TJ just dropped off. And so it's just me
good.
here.
I'm good. I'll be right back.
Okay. So I'm not sure what's going on exactly. So anyways, yeah. The way he's always around the ball, whether it's up at the line or if he's making it in the back, making interceptions, making those tackles, he always seems to be where it is. And that's one of the best things that Troy Polamalu did, was that he was always around the ball and he always seemed to be making plays all over the field. Hey, what's up, Roberto? How you doing, man? TDP is out probably 4 to 6 weeks. He has a high ankle sprain right now, so more than likely, yes, he's going to be gone for a while, which is why we also promoted Marlon Mack up to the active roster. And then we also signed Kurt Birkenstock, Birknet. I can't remember exactly what his last name is, from the Packers. He'll be taking over onto the practice squad as the practice squad quarterback. But yeah, the similarities between Hufanga and Troy Polamalu, they're there. They're pretty obvious besides just the obvious between the two. So we definitely have that looking forward to. And even right now we don't even have Ward in, and you have Gibson back there. And Gibson is actually playing some good football right now. It's not like he's back there, missing tackles, all this kind of stuff. He's also playing really good football to cover Hufanga while he makes all those other plays.
I actually came in at the perfect time because I told you I'm very satisfied with Gibson, and losing Jimmy Ward hasn't been the issue that everybody thought it was.
Yeah.
But ultimately, let us see what happens this week when you could say Jerry Jeudy might be out. By the way, what's up, Roberto? Bang bang. Nature called. My bad, y'all. Let's see, because Russell Wilson is an elite quarterback who's very capable of shredding a defense. And then let's see what happens, of course, when the Yams come to the Field of Jeans to lump praise on Gibson. But yeah, for what he's played exactly what we have. I haven't noticed his name except for, of course, the pick yesterday, which, let's be real, Huff made the play. Give him credit though, because he caught it. He very well could. We won't speak of a certain safety that talked, but Rob Stats Guerrera had the little 49ers in 5 that he By the way, actually, I should make a video for Good Morning Niner Empire. The little 49ers and 5 I watched where Jaquaski Tart, the most he ever had pass breakups or pass defense in a season was 3. Talanoa already has 3. So
Think about when Ward comes back and we go
I-
to a three high safety. We have Gibson who's just playing right now. Just have him play the solid as he is right now. He doesn't have to be fancy, and you let Ward and Hufanga run around and make those plays. That to me sounds damn good.
it's going to be, this defense has the potential to be very, very scary. Big props to Javarius Ward, of course, his first pick as a Niner. I was surprised, which I was surprised that DK Metcalf was lined up with Emmanuel Mosley, and clearly something was wrong with his hand.
Yeah,
I saw, you kept on seeing him go like this and everything like that. But I mean, DK Metcalf was he was non-factor. I was really surprised that my matchup to watch was going to be Mosley versus Tyler Lockett. And sure, if any receiver hurt us yesterday, it was Tyler Lockett. But considering what those two have done against us before, big shout outs to the secondary. And so far through 2 weeks, yeah, this is the best secondary in football.
Is that what it is stat wise? I haven't actually looked it up.
Yeah, stat wise, I'm pretty sure. Somebody tell me. I will see, of course, and that's why I want to be so cautious with Huff Daddy, as I like to call him. Because let's see as we play. Yes, I am calling him Huff Daddy. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I want to be cautious because let's see what he does against Cooper Kupp and the Yams. Let's see what he does against KC. Yeah. Let's see what he does against Miami and Tyreek Hill, especially with Andy Reid, who he's gonna know how to attack you. He's gonna know how to put you in positions where you're not comfortable, where that 4.61 speed might become an issue. But the thing that makes me comfortable about that is that's fine because we'll have Jimmy Ward back by then. And I haven't seen him playing too many snaps from center or from scrimmage, but big shout outs to Javarius Moore, who has played phenomenal on special teams. I mean, that is where I felt the game really, truly changed. Obviously, the review show image is, of course, the touchdown by Jimmy, the game stealing touchdown, which, I go lie, I was talking so much shit by the end of that game. Oh, I was all sorts of bitch. I get the fuck off my field. Oh, I loved it.
Did you see, or did I show you what happened to my phone once Lance went out and then Jimmy was in? I legit don't, obviously for those that don't know, I'm up here in Seattle. I live up here. I live amongst these people. I'm behind enemy lines. My phone did not stop for a good 15 minutes. Literally everybody, people I hadn't talked to in years, all of a sudden they're starting to text me like, "What you gonna do now? Jimmy's back," and it's man, like it was bad.
I wasn't gonna show everybody this, but I don't know if y'all can really see, but
nope, can't see nothing.
That's the casualty of the Lance. That's the casualty of
oh, okay, I see what you're showing. Yeah, we can see it.
That's kind of what happened to my phone after I wasn't gonna tell anybody that, but now not all of that is from that's from me dropping my phone a lot, but the deep chip, yeah, that comes from me throwing my phone. Anyway, yeah, no, it was very defensively, I'm so excited because I've seen everything that I thought this defense could be. We've seen the pass rush harass quarterbacks relentlessly. Linebackers have done their thing. Secondary, I remember my biggest key besides Trey in the season was the secondary, because that was clearly the weak spot of the football team last year. Especially, was really the real Achilles heel of the defense or of the team was the secondary. But now it's a strength. And I think that's what you could point to if you want to say, hey, I still believe the Niners are a championship quality football team, caliber football team, yeah, the secondary has to be what it is, and it's been that and more. I mean, what was it? 2 picks yesterday. It really should have been 3 picks yesterday. A pick in Chicago. And what made me more excited is it's when the turnovers happened. Yeah, that was the Shecocks being cute and everything like that, but that was a momentum changing play. That was your because what it was only 7-0 at that point, right? Is it 10-0?
Yeah,
It was 10-0. 10-0.
it
It
was
was
still
10
early.
nothing at that point. So they still go in and score a touchdown. You got yourself a ball game. And I want to say, let me go ahead and look at if I can find it real fast. Let me see. The first interception was how obtained the ball, downs, punt. Okay, so we didn't score off of a turn off of the 2 picks yesterday, but that was still a momentum changing play. That's a play that if we're not a great football defense, they score there. But because we
Yeah,
took that ball away, yeah, that means we're a great defense. That's a championship caliber play. Sure, it wasn't like it was in 2019 when we had, Jaquaski Tartt punking DK Metcalf from the ball, or the scoop and score by Defoe, or the pick by Dre Greenlaw. Yeah, it's not as high stakes of a game or against the greatest opponent, but a game-changing play is a game-changing play. And I think that this could really be a rallying point for this football team. Not for this defense because of what happened in Chicago, but also for this football team because yesterday could have had some real negative impacts as far as losing our starting quarterback and all that. And yeah, it wasn't going to ever be that if that happened because we had Jimmy and the locker room trusted him and everything like that. But I definitely think that win yesterday could be a win we look back and say that rejuvenated, not rejuvenated the team, but that's when you saw the real strength of this football team. The character of this football team. We're not going to quit. We're not going to be down and out. The defense is, hey, we're still those, we still got some damn dudes on this defense. And ultimately, we could break down each individual performance in Chicago, but a lot of that could probably chalked up to week 1, maybe feeling ourselves too much, the weather, whatever it was. But there's damn sure nothing that I think that I felt about this football team that I feel that different about, minus the quarterback position, obviously. Jason?
that's a whole show amongst itself.
Yeah, pretty much. I was about to say, yeah, Jason, final thoughts. I think this would probably be just as good a place to wrap it up. I can't really think of anything we didn't cover.
I think as bad as it was with Trey, I think it's probably for the best that we do have Jimmy as, I don't think it's arguable that he was the best backup available. So I think we got extremely lucky the fact that he restructured and he got there. Even me, who championed the Trey pick and knew it was worth it, I wanted Trey to stay. I've gone on record saying that 1.5 million times. I've also said that I'm not worried. I should say I'm not worried, but I'm good with Jimmy. This team still wins with Jimmy, even with his limitations. We know how to play with Jimmy. It's not like we're putting in, say we didn't have Jimmy and we had Nate Sudfeld or Brock Purdy. Then I would be really worried.
Yeah.
I'm not as worried with Jimmy.
The season's done.
Yeah, for the most part. The only thing that does worry me about Jimmy is that the league knows how to play Jimmy. So we will see if Jimmy is, like he says, feeling his best since 2018 or 2017. Do we get that Jimmy back? The Jimmy that could move a little bit, the Jimmy that could actually throw deep. That could excite me depending on how it says or how everything goes off. So it's not doom and gloom. We know what we got with Jimmy. We win with Jimmy. Can we just stop fighting each other? It's my thing.
I mean, ultimately, I agree with you in the sense that this is what it is, and any other talk about what could happen or what should have happened at this point is useless. And fine, trust me, we'll talk about it ad nauseum, I'm sure, this offseason. You know,
Can we get
but
one off season like the
this
last
is
8 without so much drama, man? There's always something.
God, man. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people ask me, "Hey, why do you guys do the podcast? Year round?" And yeah, there are some times that it'll get a little repetitive and a little like, okay, can we, can we move on here? But that's because ultimately there's always something to talk about with this football team.
There's
I mean, yeah, there'd be
no
some
shortage
shows
of
that we were
anything.
struggling a little bit, but never a shortage of anything. But yeah, ultimately, I feel like you do. The expectation of this football team should still be to win. And regardless of whether you're a Jimmy fan or not, name me a better quarterback that was available to sign September 19th of 2022 than Jimmy Garoppolo. Or I will say that August 29th. August 29th, name me a better quarterback that was available for the Niners to have as a backup than Jimmy Garoppolo. There wasn't. There just simply wasn't, because if there was, he would be on this roster or somebody else's. So no, there wasn't a better backup quarterback, and now we ultimately see why. Now maybe it is not the reason why some of us thought it was, but yeah, I feel like you do, Jason. I feel that the expectation of this football team is still going to be, and ultimately, I think this is going to be the best we get of Jimmy Garoppolo, because Jimmy's fighting for his career. Because, and I'm not saying if Jimmy goes out and wins MVP this year, it's just something crazy that's not going to happen. It's not going to drastically change teams' opinion of what Jimmy Garoppolo is. But yeah, Jimmy does have a chance in his free agent, his going into free agency, have some chance to maybe dispel some rumors, i.e., yeah, maybe he could play 15 games, or more than, he could play pretty much a full season.
He's probably playing for, honestly, his last contract, more than likely.
I think so too. I honestly think, and I think it's really, hey, can you be a starter or a bridge quarterback, or are you going to be a backup? And I think this is ultimately, we're going to get the best out of Jimmy Garoppolo. And does that equal number 6? I guess we'll wait and see. Can't wait to unfold that over the next, series of months, over the next couple months here. Yeah, can't wait. It's going to be exciting. And I definitely do think we're going to get the best of what Jimmy Garoppolo is. And we'll deal with the consequences of what this means for the future of the Niner Empire moving forward. Jason, thanks again for joining me this week, bro.
Always. I'll be on Friday with Jamie.
Okay. That's going to be awesome. Y'all check that out. Good Morning Niner Empire. I'll get y'all the numbers, but I think it's doing all right, and everything seems fine. I notice every time
we're trying to figure out a new name, because obviously it's not Good Morning anymore.
Yeah. So my girl,
we're thinking something about drinking, because the last couple of times we've done it, I've been kind of faded.
So we'll think of something. Yeah, because the idea behind Good Morning Niner Empire was it was theoretically supposed to come out Monday. Ideally, the best thing to do would be record it Saturday morning.
Yeah.
But that's just not possible with everybody's schedule, and I understand that. So we will come up with a better show, but it is our weekly recap show, and we listen to these press conferences. I mean, y'all don't know how much time I spent chopping up these press conferences and shit like that. We spend all this time to basically that you could tune in, you can hear the latest Niner news, and we're pretty much not going to get any more until Sunday morning. So great chance to catch up on the show. Are you doing halftime? Halftime is going to be around 8, I would think. Or no, 6, 7.
Yeah, probably about 6. Between 5:30 and 6. Well,
Okay, so
yeah, 6:15. It's hard to say.
check out.
Yeah.
And that's so when I make these a little behind the show thing, when I make these game day, a show lineup posts I've been making, it feels so weird because I do pregame, 9 a.m. or 9:30 or whatever, right? Or noon or whatever. Post game 9 p.m. halftime. This is like halftime show.
If you're watching the game, when it's halftime. I mean, you can't say halftime at 6 o'clock. It's impossible. It's never going to work.
It's just funny to do, but I like it because we're one of the very few podcasts that really does it. I think that during the week, everybody's everybody, but I think that our game day coverage is really where we separate ourselves because how many shows are going to give you pregame, halftime, and postgame? Now.
We started doing them 2 years ago when I first joined. There wasn't anybody else. Now there's a ton of people actually doing them.
Well, I like to think that maybe they stole that from us. Anyway,
of course.
So I'll also talk to Jamie. We'll let y'all know as soon as we do our game day shows. We'll let y'all know the time on that. But we shall see you live from Denver. I will be in Denver, Colorado. When y'all see me Sunday, we're going to be doing our pregame show. I might not be able to do all the cool little videos and stuff like that. I don't know how that really works on the phone. We'll see.
Are you going to the game?
But we'll definitely be live. Yeah. We'll be going to the game in Denver. Yeah, we'll be live from Invesco or Empower Field. I think is what it's called right now. I don't know, whatever this stadium is called in Denver. I'm actually really excited because I was telling my manager this morning. I said I'd never been to besides the Coliseum, which has never actually been for a football game, and I was a little kid last time I went to the Coliseum, the Oakland Coliseum, not LA, but Oakland Coliseum. I've only been to, as far as games, I've only been to the Stick and Levi's. So this is actually my first NFL stadium that I've been to besides basically whatever stadium the Niners were playing at and Kezar. So I'm actually really excited. It's going to be an awesome pregame show. Maybe not visually, but we're going to be live. We're going to be cracking at the tailgate. It's going to be a great time. Just a little warning. Me and my girl got the all-you-can-eat and all-you-can-drink wristbands, so your boy might be a little faded. But we're going to have a great time in Denver. Make sure y'all check that out. Jason, we shall see you halftime, brother.
Indeed. We'll be on.
Oh. All right, bro. Late. Okay, I'd like to thank Jason for hopping on. Of course, before we get out of here, we want to remind everybody or thank everybody for tuning into the end of the show. This week's code for 10% off of all For the Faithful, by the Faithful apparel will be Buck the Broncos. Yeah, I like that one. 10% excludes any on-sale items and must include season 2 items. Go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/shop. Use a promo code Buck the Broncos. Get a 10% off of got 5? No, shut the fuck up t-shirts. And all our season 2 gear. All the shirts y'all see me wear this year. Help out, save 10% by using our Shop 49ers affiliate link and help out Niner Faithful Radio. Link is in the description of the video or podcast. Go to SeatGiant.com. Use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all your theater, concert, and sporting events tickets, as well as help out the show. Follow us on social media at Niner Faithful Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, and Niner Faithful R on Twitter. Go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/subscribe to see everywhere you can subscribe to the show. And, of course, check out our game day shows, week 3, pregame, halftime, and postgame shows. We shall see y'all next week, or shall see y'all Sunday. Till then, faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners.
You are now listening to Niner Faithful Radio, the show for the faithful, by the faithful.
See ya.